Hi, welcome back everyone. So this short video is about equality and diversity, more so about you as individual learners and what Aspire to Learn does to help meet those needs, because again, we're all different. Ziggy is going to help us with kind of who the leads are and some of their processes. So just to start off with, Ziggy, I know in your welcome pack, we cover a bit about equality, and you've talked about tailoring this program to meet individual needs. Ultimately, isn't that what equality is all about? You know, meeting individual needs and not treating people as herds, and recognizing that we're all capable of achieving our goals, but we just might get there in very different ways.
Yes. It's not about treating everybody the same.
That is a complete misconception. How many times have I heard that answer?
Oh yes, it's like treating everyone the same.
No, it couldn't be further from it, could it?
Exactly. It's like looking at every individual as an individual and looking at what their needs are to get to their goal, to their place, their self-actualization. Yeah. And in this instance, Stephen, it is you who is our equality and diversity lead.
There we go. Brilliant, thank you. So yeah, absolutely, like you've said, it's about treating people as individuals and looking at their strengths and weaknesses. And within equality and diversity, we look at a process called neurodiversity. And under neurodiversity, we've got lots of different ways that people learn. So we have autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and it could just be something simple. It might just be that you've got a common health condition, or maybe a mental health thing going on, or maybe you've just got a temporary illness. But ultimately, you can all still achieve a program. It's our job as educators to tailor that program around you to find how we get to your goal. And that's done through good information, advice and guidance. We're going back to that IAG.
Yes.
It's done through a good induction. It's done through a good review process. It's done through good engagement and good transparency. Because ultimately, if you need a reasonable adjustment or an adjustment to learning, we have to know it within the first 12 weeks, because ultimately, when you do your endpoint assessment, you'll be assessed in the ways of working that you have done for the last year. And that's the rules applied. So if you need a bit more time, if you need support or a screen cover or an adjustment to the online learning for font sizes, just let us know. And I know from experience with my dyslexia, sometimes you feel embarrassed. You don't want to tell somebody. But from experience, it's the worst thing you can do to hold that card, because you just make your life harder.
Yes.
And there are, there's lots of ways in which we can help, isn't there, Ziggy?
Yeah. I think you've covered that very well. Do not be embarrassed about telling your tutors what your needs might be, whether you're struggling with something, whether actually essay writing is very difficult for you because the long periods of it takes, or typing on the board, or you can't get pen to paper. There are ways then, as soon as your tutor knows that, they will adapt that for you so that you can deliver that assessment or that knowledge in a way that suits you the best. It meets your learning styles, it meets your assessment needs, it meets everything that's going to be give us everything to support you.
Brilliant, thank you. And again, online, there is a reasonable adjustment form. So in the Canvas app, there is a form that you can just fill in, pop your name there, and that will provoke a discussion. Again, in your reviews, your assessment plans, you can say that. So being the lead, I can say what I would do. If you come over to me and somebody says, look, I've got this question here, I've got an adaptation or adjustment that needs to be made, we'd look at what's fair. So equality is about applying fair principles for all. And sometimes you don't actually get what you're asking for, because that's not what the rules allow us to do.
Yeah.
What they do allow us to do is look at fair assessment. And that means, can we change the assessment method? So for example, rather than writing an essay, could we just have a professional discussion? Same outcomes being met, just achieved in a different way. And they're reasonable adjustments which your training provide, which your your tutor can do. In an exam, for example, like functional skills exams, we then have to go to the awarding organisations and we have to do different paperwork. And for that, sometimes we have to wait for the adjustment to come back. And that's why it's really important we do this early on so we can get those consent forms in and done. Equally, for your endpoint assessment, you might need an adjustment there. So you might need 25% extra time. You might need a scribe, somebody to help you write. So again, we need to know early on so we can apply for all of that. So there's lots of ways to help meet that learning need. The other thing is that we can look at equipment or adaptation. So online now, there's lots of different support aids out there. So like Grammarly, which does all your corrections and does all wonderful stuff. You could dictaphone your answers, and some of the best answers I hear are recorded. Don't you agree? Because people just flow.
Yes. Yeah, I flow better when I'm talking as opposed to when I'm writing and putting my thoughts. People struggle to put thoughts down onto paper and how to portray them. But when you're asked a question, it just all comes out.
Brilliant. There's also the inequalities around poverty and about kind of just surviving in today's world. So equally, if you are struggling financially or you've got a barrier to learning, that comes under the Equality Act. And there's some things that we can do. We've got referrals to other services. We've got referrals to food banks. We've got, there's things that we can do. There's different grants and things out there to help. So it's important that you have those discussions. Equally, you might be a carer for somebody at home. So like a parent or somebody, and therefore you're working full time and you're struggling. Just let us know. We can do 25% extra time just to make sure that you're not being unfairly, disadvantaged. So equality and equal opportunities isn't just around that neurodiversity. It's around your living. It's around your studying. It really is a holistic approach to who you are. And again, you've got the online form that you can fill in. You've got the boxes on a monthly basis, or alternatively, you can email Stephen@aspire2learn. And again, I can then respond back from there. And no different, we do an action plan and then that's shared with the tutor as well. So hopefully you found that useful and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.